Hi everyone, this is another linear functions application example. It's occurring to me that I should mention for online people the day one, day two part of your homework. For my face-to-face classes, I try and block out a section of homework for each day of lecture. So you're picking your own pace, but I decided to leave it there for you so you can see what I would intend as 1 day's worth of work versus 2 days worth of work. And you'll see a longer chunk of videos here as well that goes with a couple days worth of working your way through this. Okay, so this is an example where we are not given the equation for the linear function. We have to find it ourselves based on the information in the problem. So again, with my little font, I'll read this off to make sure that you know what's going on, or you can go check it out in your packet. This problem is in the examples part of your packet. The European sedge warbler has an intricate song consisting of a long stream of trills, whistles, and buzzes. Males with the most intricate songs are the first to acquire mates in the spring. A male who sings 41 different songs is able to pair on the 20th day of spring, and a male who sings 29 different songs pairs on the 35th day of spring. Pairing can be dated because the male stops singing when it pairs. Okay, so our very first task here is to find the equation that gives the time it takes for a male to pair as a function of the number of songs the male knows. So if you'll remember, we need certain types of information to find equations for lines. We either need 2 points or a point and a slope. So our first job, that really narrows it down for us, is to read through this and decide if we're given slope information or point information, or possibly both of those things. So if you come here to the middle of the problem, we were told that a male who sings 41 different songs is able to pair on the 20th day, and a male who sings 29 different songs is able to pair on the 35th day. This sounds exactly like point information to me. I'm given 2 pairs, 41 songs, 20 days, 29 songs, 35 days. So 2 points, I should be able to build an equation from that. And the only thing to be really careful about is which is your x coordinate and which is your y coordinate. So if I think about this problem, you want to get the dependence thing right. So you have to ask yourself if it makes more sense to say that the number of songs a male sings depends on the day that he pairs, or if the day that the male pairs depends on the number of songs he knows. And I would say the second version there makes the most sense. So if number of let me think if I can get that one right again. If the day on which he pairs depends on number of songs, then we want to put the dependent variable on the vertical axis and the independent variable on the horizontal axis. Okay, so I know which coordinate's going to go first. That means that I want to give the x coordinate first, number of songs. So one of my pairs is 41 songs, 20 days to find a mate. The other pair was 29 songs, 35 days to find a mate. Okay, so given 2 points, we should be able to calculate a slope. And the other thing we need here is to define our variables. So you can just pick x and y if you would like to. I think that's boring, so I'm going to be a little more creative. I'm going to say n represents the number of days to find a mate, and s equals the number of songs. No. Okay, so you pick your variables. I like to try and pick something that makes me remember what they represent. I don't know if I'm loving my n here. Maybe I should have chosen a d, but whatever you like. Okay, so for the slope part, slope is going to be change in y over change in x. So I'm going to take 35 minus 20 over 29 minus 41 Make sure I got those in the right order. So 35 minus 20 is a negative 15. 29 minus 41 is a negative, oh, this is positive, I'm lying to you, negative 12. There we go. We can reduce that a little. We can even think about turning it into a decimal. I can cancel out a 3. It looks like I'm getting negative 5/4. If you prefer the decimal here, negative 1.25. Again, remember, if you're not working on a word problem, I don't want to see you switching to decimals. Exact answers are wonderful. I want you to get comfortable with them and used to them. But if it is a word problem, I have no problem with you switching to a decimal. Here we don't even have any rounding error, but even if you did have a little rounding error, I wouldn't be hugely worried for a problem like this. Okay, scrunching myself for space a little bit again, but let's see if we can go ahead and find the y-coordinate of our y-intercept and finish building our equation. So I think I'll go ahead and use point slope form. You are absolutely welcome to use slope-intercept form as well. You just put your negative 1.25 in for slope and pick either one of these points and plug them in for your n and your s values. So we're looking for the, what are we looking for? Number of days as a function of number of songs. And we want to use point slope form. So I'm going to pick a point. I'll use the first one. It doesn't really matter. We want to subtract the specific n value that we know from our n variable. And then we set that equal to the slope times s minus the specific s value that we know. And we can go ahead and distribute through. So we have n of s minus 20 is equal to negative 1.25s. And let me go ahead and do this multiply on my calculator. Do not trust my arithmetic. There we go. Okay, and then the last step would be to solve for n of s. So we need to add 20 to both sides. And there is my equation. So that hopefully is the hard part done. From there you can be asked to do any sort of interpreting or answering questions or graphing, any of that stuff, but that's the key part. I do have one other question to answer here. How many songs must a male know to pair on the first day of spring? Okay, so if we want him to pair right off the bat out the door, we are being given an n value, number of days. So let's say it takes him 0 days. I know I said the first day, but I'm thinking immediately. So 0 days to find a mate. Okay, so if we set that equal, let's see if I can make my s's look like s's and my 5's look like 5's. We just need to solve this equation. So I am going to go ahead and subtract the 71.25. And then I can divide by negative 1.25. So it's looking like I'm getting s is equal to, and it's going to be positive 57. And this, again, if we think back, this is an s value, so this is number of songs. So what we're saying here is if the male knows 57 songs, he will get a mate immediately when spring starts. So Mr. 57 Songs is the sexiest sedge warbler out there. All right, thanks for watching.